What's up, bro? Okay, so today we're talking about a very well-known thing. We're talking about who are Rey's parents slash where did Rey come from. So you already covered that she might be, Han Solo and Leia's daughter. She might be Luke's daughter. But I think what we need to do first is we need to recognize that this whole parental relationship thing and obsession is really a Star Wars thing. So in Star Wars, it seems like everyone's got a dad who's this evil Sith Lord, or maybe not, or whatever. Family ties are very emphasized in Star Wars, and we have this obsession to it, and perhaps that plays in with The Force Awakens, and perhaps that'll be part of this new trilogy. But we have to understand that this is an obsession that we've kind of gotten from the old trilogies and the prequels, and maybe it's not actually going to be that much of a thing. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about where did Rey come from. And I have a crazy theory. Some of you might have heard of it already. It's the theory that Rey is actually Anakin Skywalker reincarnated into Rey. What? It's the theory that Anakin Skywalker is actually reincarnated by the Force into Rey. What? Okay, so here's my supporting evidence. So the one in the Star Wars lore is the one who came to balance the Force. We know that. Got it. Prequels. What midichlorians? Yeah. Virgin birth. Yeah, whatever. It has a lot of characteristics to Christianity and Jesus Christ. And so perhaps, Jesus, he died, but he was resurrected to come and, finish what he started, essentially. And so, if we're following it with that, that Christian theme, then, it would make sense that there would also be a resurrection or a reincarnation, in this case with Anakin, reincarnating into Rey. And through The Force Awakens, there's a lot of evidence to support that. Some of it being, when she has her first vision, the first thing that she hears is the breath of Darth Vader. I mean, maybe, okay, fine. She's very overpowered. Everyone knows that. Everyone points that out. Rey's a great character, but she's super overpowered. She's able to take down Kylo Ren when she whispers the Force in the forest, and she is able to wield a lightsaber and do all these Force tricks, and everyone's like, what the heck, like, she's from this desert planet and doesn't know anything about the Force, and then someone tells her about it, and all of a sudden she's this amazing master. So The Force Awakens, we know that that's in regards to Rey and how she's being awakened to the Force and everything, but perhaps it's also, an allusion to the Force awakening the One again in this new form, aka Rey. Throughout the movie, she's a skilled mechanic, she's a skilled pilot, we see that. I don't really know where that comes from. No one does. Does anyone really know? I mean, yeah, she's a scavenger and she goes through all these different, ships and stuff to get different parts, but she can just fly the Millennium Falcon like that out of nowhere? No training, no experience whatsoever. It seems far-fetched unless you look at it as if she's the reincarnation of Anakin Skywalker, because he had all that knowledge with mechanics and flying, and he was known to be a great pilot. And if she is a reincarnation of him, then she would have those abilities and that knowledge as well, innately within her, even if she's not entirely conscious of it. Also, there's a whole parallel of her, being on a desert planet, and then being rescued, and being taken away, and, having Force powers. Very similar to the Anakin Skywalker timeline and the prequels. In Maz Kanata's cantina, we also see her being called to Anakin's lightsaber, the original one. And so, perhaps there's this whole, ownership calling out to its owner kind of thing, or, whatever. But, I mean, it's a point nonetheless that could also possibly point to the support of this theory. Also, Maz Kanata says in the movie that, when you live long enough, you start to see the same eyes and the same people. And, I wonder if there's something to that with Maz and Rey. It's not really evident and it's not really obvious, but perhaps there's some kind of underlying thing where she kind of knows that, Rey is very powerful, obviously, because she tells her to take the lightsaber, and she's there with her in this moment where she's kind of awoken by the Force. So, maybe Maz Kanata knows that. Maybe she sees the eyes of Anakin Skywalker in Rey. I think another thing that we have to address here is that it would be weird it would be really, really, really weird if Rey turned out to actually be Anakin Skywalker. Which makes the whole moment at the end of the movie with Luke Skywalker even more weird. Because, you know, when Luke first sees Rey, maybe it was just me, but he's all skeptical hippo about her. He's like, I don't know. Like, he's just tough to read. And, I mean, like, how would you feel if your father came back from the grave as a little girl? It's like an awkward moment, you know? It's like, well, hey, Dad, but you're really a little girl. WTF, I don't know. I think, overall, it's an interesting theory to talk about, and I think it's plausible. You know, we've heard from different producers that the next, you know, Star Wars 8, whatever they're gonna call it, is gonna be a lot weirder. Like it's gonna take a leap into kind of unknown territory. And I think that that's kind of how they set it up. You know, The Force Awakens, there's a lot of, you know, original plot points and, you know, a lot of references to the old movies, and I think that they were doing that to really gain the trust of the fan base, you know. And now that they have our trust, because let's face it, you know, they did a friggin' amazing job, I think that they're going to move on and they're like, okay, you trust us, now trust us a little bit more and let's get weird, like let's do something new here. And I think that's the perfect opportunity to introduce a character as a reincarnation. It's weird. I think they would have to do a really good job of selling it and making sure that the movie is just right, so that it's not like, okay, what is happening? I don't get this. I think it'd be hard to pull off, but it's Disney and they're a movie juggernaut and they could probably do it. So I think that if it's possible, it's plausible, because it's something that we've never seen before. And it would be a huge twist, and it'd be super weird, but it could also be pretty cool, you know, just the thought of the one, in terms of the Force, you know, the one being someone who is reincarnated time and time again in times of great need or great peril. You know, this could go back to Darth Raven, or, you know, whoever. You know, the one could be recycled through physical bodies over time to ensure the balance of the Force. You know, it might have not just been Anakin Skywalker, but Jedis before him and Jedis after him. So I think that it's fairly possible and fairly plausible that this might actually come to fruition. Hopefully we'll be able to have this all resolved by the next movie. I'd hate for them to drag it on to the third one, because I mean everyone just wants to know, like, who WTF, like who is Rey. And you know, maybe she won't even be anyone. Maybe she is just like a loner scavenger from Jakku. Like, it's very possible. I think that a lot of people would be disappointed because we are all expecting her to have some kind of crazy lineage or theory of reincarnation or whatever. But it's very possible that she might just be a nobody scavenger. And honestly, I'd kind of be okay with that too. But I think that it would be very difficult to pull off the reincarnation story, because it'd be kind of interesting seeing Anakin / Rey come back and be like, Daddy's home? Anyways, that's all I got for you today, bro. That's my theory. I'm sticking to it. We'll see what happens in Star Wars 8. And until then, I'll see you later.